Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and welcome to your Raw review. I can't believe there's a pay-per-view on Sunday. Fastlane. I didn't realize it was happening. It was like Elimination Chamber. It was like right around the corner. I didn't realize that it was actually going to happen so soon. We just had one 2 weeks ago. Do we really need another show? But anyway, guys, this is the Raw review, so let's talk about Raw. You know, some people were saying this was a good show. I will say this, it was better than last week's, and I did like the way they ended the show. Well, almost, but we'll get to that at the end of the review. So, ooh, there's a little cliffhanger for you, but, yeah, this was, better. Definitely I like the certain steps that they took on this show. There was definitely a different air to it. And you know, maybe that might have to do a little something with Bruce Pritchard, but then there was some other parts on this show where I just kind of, you know, had to just sit back and be like, nothing has changed. So I think there's a part on this show that Bruce Pritchard is like working on it, but he's not touching everything, because I saw it on this show. People were saying that, including Vince Russo, which I disagreed with, that there was like a different you know, vibe to the show last week, because I watched this on YouTube, granted. So he was talking about the formatting on the show and the way they went from something, you know, from one segment to the other. So I can't really comment on that natural flow. But, you know, I can comment on the individual segments. And if we're talking about the quality of segments, I didn't really like last week. Here, I did like some of the segments that they did put out. And I think you could probably imagine which ones I did enjoy and which ones I didn't. So let's get to the review right now and see what happens. So Roman Reigns comes out. He asked Seth Rollins to come out, and you know, they want to do a Shield reunion, and I get this. You know, Dean Ambrose is going to leave. You know, I don't know. I'm really curious to know how much they begged Ambrose to stay, because I guarantee you that if they offered him more money, he probably wouldn't be going anywhere. But you know that the guy's going to go to AEW. That's definitely where the guy's going to go, without a doubt in my mind. He definitely, as much as I like Ambrose, he's got AEW written all over him. He seems like the kind of guy that would go there. Arn Anderson, no. But Dean Ambrose, yeah, you know, he is an indie darling to a certain degree. He's definitely an indie darling that I like, and he doesn't have as much the obsessive fans, you know, obsessing over him, but he is kind of steeped in that CZW thing, you know, that John Moxley thing is, you know, still around him, so people are still going to, you know, treat Ambrose like an indie darling. So that's why I think AEW is in his future. But I am just so sick and tired. I know they want to make this a nice thing because, you know, Roman Reigns just got back, you know, and, you know, he's in remission now. And, you know, I'm not going to say anything more about the conspiracy theories. Guys, if you want to know more about the conspiracy theories, go watch my video on that. I think I did a pretty good job putting my 2 cents in there. So if you haven't checked that video out yet, I highly recommend it. But, you know, I get it. They want to have a nice moment here. They want to have, you know, Ambrose, Rollins, and, you know, Reigns together one last time so they could do the fist pose and they could beat up a few guys. And I get that. I'm just so sick. Since 2017, we've been going after the same thing, you know, and it's like the reunion, they didn't even wait like, what was it, 3.5 years for them to have the reunion. They jumped the gun on the reunion, and you know, they wanted it so badly, and it took place in a time when Reigns was hot. He just beat Cena, and now it's like they want to shove him back in to the faction right away. And okay, we're gonna get to that. So then they bring out Ambrose, and Ambrose actually comes out, and, you know, and here's the thing, it's like, Ambrose did this whole heel turn. People were begging him to be heel. And I don't know what it was. If, like, you know, because he said the thing about Reigns. That was the thing. Seth Rollins says, oh, you know, remember what he did, you know, the night when you announced that you had leukemia. You know, he turned on me. And, you know, Reigns says that he wants to look past that. And, you know, that was a good out. I kind of understand that, to explain the situation. They did do a good job of kind of explaining why he would want Ambrose out there. But it really just shows, like, how fucked up they went. Like, they started off good with Ambrose. And, I mean, just like they're totally forget, like, say, you know what, fuck it, we'll just put him back together. It's just like a total disregard. And I know he's leaving anyway, and that's the true story behind it. But, you know, even if Ambrose wasn't leaving, they'd still go this route. That's what really just really pisses me off about it, is because you know that even if he wasn't leaving, they'd still go this route no matter what. So Elias comes out from behind. He hits him with the guitar, hits Ambrose in the back, and, you know, so at least, you know, Elias is still getting some heat on Ambrose. Then up next, we've got Lashley, Corbin, and Drew McIntyre defeating Kurt Angle, Braun Strowman, and Finn Balor. And I am so sick and tired of seeing these three guys, like, beat up on Kurt Angle, beat up on Finn Balor. I feel like they've had this match 1,000 times, and I think they have already. Kurt Angle gets the shit beat out of him at the end. And I'm just going to say this, guys. Like, are we really this close to WrestleMania? Are we really 2 years into Angle returning to WWE? And this guy, he hasn't done anything significant from being back, unless you want to count the show-stealing WrestleMania match. But aside from that, they treated him like a goofball when he was GM. They wrote him off as GM, and it didn't even make sense. He was on vacation. Corbin took over as a temporary, you know, stand-in. And then they just completely forgot about that he even had the position. Go back and watch it. My timeline is accurate. I think they just kind of was hoping everyone was going to forget. How can they expect such a dedicated fan base, such a niche audience, to forget so easily about something that just happened mere months ago? It really shows how much respect they have for their fucking audience. Like, yeah, that didn't happen. But, like, if you can't creatively come up with anything for Kurt Angle around WrestleMania season, not only do you have no business in creative, you don't deserve a job, you don't even deserve a brain. How could you look at a massive star like Kurt Angle and not get excited? It's like the same thing I say for Elias or Bobby Lashley or any of these guys. Why aren't they excited to you know, work with Kurt Angle, this legend? Instead, it's like, oh, let's just beat him every week. Let's make him look like a total schmuck. And that, you know, that is what they've been the most consistent with Kurt Angle, making him look like a schmuck more than making him look like a star. What did this guy do? Is it that Vince doesn't like that he worked for TNA, that he worked around the world, that he came back to WWE? Then why is he even having him back? He wants to have him back just so he could fucking punch him? I don't get things like this. It doesn't make sense. He'd want to have him in the company just to make him look like a fucking moron? I mean, I'm not really getting that at all. Like, why that makes sense. But it's something we see time and time again. You know, we've had so many people come back. It's like all these wrestlers that return. Jeff Hardy, Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle, they have some huge stars now. This is why I don't believe when people say that, like, oh, the roster's not good enough. Because you combine that with potential, like with Elias and things like that, like and Aleister Black, and you're still going to sit there and tell me that the roster's not strong enough? I really disagree with that, because I'm looking like we've got Orton still, we got Rey Mysterio, we got Jeff Hardy, we got Kurt Angle, we've got Roman Reigns, we have Braun Strowman, we have all these stars, so it doesn't make sense to me. And we've got, you know, like guys like Andrade, we have numerous stars, Eric Young, you know, I could name so many guys, Matt Hardy, for all of these wrestlers, The Miz. Just, there's so much charisma on this roster, so much potential. So Bobby Roode, who we're going to talk about a little bit later. There's so many people on this roster who already have a cemented legacy, who've already proven themselves, and they do nothing with them. They have so much at their disposal, but they do so little with it. It's truly fucking disturbing at this point. So they beat the shit out of Angle. Then they beat the... I don't know what happened to, like, Strowman during this match. But then they take Balor, double choke slam him right on the steel steps. And they've done this spot so many times already with the steel steps. It's like, either get a new weapon, do something different. Because, like, it's the same beatdown every week. This is getting really, really monotonous. And I would say really quickly, but no, it's already there. I'm already just completely sick and tired of watching the same fucking thing over and over again. Come up with a new idea or something like that. Then backstage, they've got Tucker and Otis, Heavy Machinery. And I don't know, this was just a very awkward type of segment here, where they show people, Charlie like says, "Oh, I heard people talking about you in the locker room." And then they cut to a, like a pre-tape of, Zack Ryder and Hawkins, along with the Ascension and a few others, like, standing around talking about, how these guys from NXT come in and, they're taking their spot and getting all these opportunities. And then they start making fun of Otis. And then, like, Otis looks like he's about to cry, and he's, like, saying that he's sensitive and all that. And, I don't know. It's just with all the goofballishness stuff that goes on right now. It's like, do we really need another, like, sensitive big man? Like, come on. We're the tough guys. Remember the Batista promo from 2014? We're all the real men. I mean, exactly. Like, it's okay if once in a while you want to have a funny comedic character. I'm all for that. I like those characters. But now they're in such abundance, and they don't even do them well. Now, Otis has got some talent. He's entertaining. He's got a face there, that's recognizable. You'll know it. I'm not crazy about them imitating the Bushwhackers. It just makes them look very contrived when they do that. But, Tucker assures him that they're going to get their revenge. Then we get a match between Natalya and Ruby Riott. And there's just, like, nothing here happening during this match. I mean, I don't even... They're like, hinting at, like, Ruby Riott is having a string of bad luck. So this is the thing. You put her against Rousey. She gets the shit beat out of her in a squash match. They put her in another match. The Riot Squad there is there to help her a little bit. What happened? Did Rousey even beat her, or did it end in a disqualification or something like that? I don't even remember. But the thing was, now they're trying to sell her like, well, now she's on a losing streak. So, like, it's just one bad idea after another. Like, this girl's improved. I've even admitted it. This coming from a guy that made a Ruby Riott Sucks video. I'm even seeing that the girl is greatly improved. And what do they think to do? She's the leader of her own group, and now she's gonna lose. And they're not even doing anything with Natalya. You don't even have anything planned for this girl. So, and didn't they have 1,001 of these Natalya Ruby Riott matches? And now we're going back to it again. So what was the point here? Why was this match even on here? Then backstage, Stephanie introduces us to the SNL cast. And, guys, I don't know, like, everyone's age here who watches these videos. I know I've got people my age. I know I've got people in their teens. So for the people who are not my age, bear with me for a moment unless you enjoy listening to this. SNL used to be absolutely classic. You think back to the likes of Phil Hartman, Chris Farley, Dan Aykroyd, David Spade, there's so many legends in SNL history. You gotta go back and you gotta watch the old SNL. If you're not gonna watch SNL from the 80s, watch it from the 90s at the very least. See some Chris Farley, laugh a little bit, enjoy Phil Hartman, who was taken from us way too soon. But, now when I look at modern day SNL, and I don't look at it because I don't watch it, It is so bad. And SNL, to me, has been dead since the 2000s. Since it was Jimmy Fallon, since it was Tina Fey, since it was Tracy Morgan, who I find to be just the most unbearable, detestable, actor, comedian that there is. I don't know if there's any other Tracy Morgan dislikers out there, but I'm definitely one of them. And yeah, I mean, SNL, it's gotten even worse, if that's even imaginable. And these are the guys from the Weekend Update. And Jimmy Fallon and Tina Fey greatly, annihilated the Weekend Update. And, made that just so boring and just so artificial feeling. There was no hope for it after that. And, be that as it may, we see these two generic... you look at these two guys, and they picked, one black guy, one white guy here. And there's just nothing about these guys that's special. You look back, it's the same thing with wrestling. It's the same thing with wrestling. You look at these two SNL actors, and they look like nobodies. They don't look like stars. They don't, okay, they're young guys. But there was a time when even Dan Aykroyd was young, when Bill Murray was young, and you would see these guys, there was a time when all these young actors and comedians were young. So, okay, so you might say they haven't matured yet. No, but I'm looking at them and I could just tell they're not stars. They'll never be stars. And, I'll give it this. More people watch SNL than watch this bullshit. But, be that as it may, I mean, I'm just watching this and it's just... I'm watching something that I hate and something that I used to love. Two things that I used to like that I hate: SNL and WWE. And to see just this was just so weird for me, because it's we see how horrible SNL's become. We've seen how horrible the WWE's become. And we rewind them at least 20 years ago, and they were better shows. Obviously, I mean, SNL still wasn't that great, if we're going back to 1999. But even still, it was better than it is now. But, I mean, these guys are in there, and I don't know what it is. He puts on a Mets hat. They're like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You should get to know. And Stephanie's, appalled by this. What even happened that she has, this shocked look on her face? She's been in the WWE since she's a fucking kid, and she's, appalled because the guy put on a Mets hat and made a few comments. The reaction is just totally just uncalled for based on the situation. Then we get Batista in the lazy-ass thing I've ever seen. Batista, they show it up on the screen. It's Instagram. He did a post. I can't be there tonight because we're gonna do things on my time and blah blah blah. I don't like Philly. I like Pittsburgh. I might meet you in Pittsburgh, for the fast lane thing. They don't even say fast lane. They just say the name of the town. So when I was watching this at first, I'm like, well, where's Pittsburgh? Is that where Raw is next week? No, I think that's where fast lane is. I think. But if I even have to guess where the fucking show is, if I have to research it, then that's on them. But I'm you just had Batista there last week. You can't get him there 1 week, but just to build it up. At least maybe have him pull up in a limo. Maybe in the parking lot, just be you know what? I don't like this town. We're out of here. Make him act more like a movie star. Make him act more like a diva. But in the Instagram post, he's talking really softly. He's just his fucking head is just all in the fucking frame here. Back up a little bit. Put a bit more emotion in it. And it was just and I don't blame the guy, because it's all they did was tell him, oh, send us a 30-second clip of a promo. Is that any way for him to work? Send in a fucking clip? I mean, that's Batista right there? That's how you want to utilize this guy? You got, they have money to fly around the fucking world, right? to go to Saudi Arabia, to go to Australia. You're telling me they can't pay Batista a little extra so he could show up for one more night? I mean, this is the cheapest company in the world. I mean, they won't even pay Brock Lesnar, the champion, more money to show up. I mean, this is just getting retarded already. I mean, honestly, if it's not Batista, then it is Brock Lesnar. It's like, where are these people? You know, you can't even keep Rey Mysterio, who's a full-timer, you know, consistent on your roster. How do you expect to tell any stories with this type of method? So, right after that, Triple H comes out, and I will say that this was a very good promo. At the beginning of the review, when I was talking about stuff that I liked from the show, this is what I was talking about. This was pretty good. I enjoyed it. A lot of intensity here. I'm not sure how I felt about, you know, how he was, you know, saying Ric Flair, how he was calling him Richard Flair. And, you know, like, and then saying, oh, I'm going to be out of character and all that. You know, that's, you know, okay. This is another good reason why they should just fucking say, the hell with kayfabe. If you're going to do this and pretty much show that it's fake and that they're playing characters, in 2019, when everyone pretty much knows that it's fake anyway, you know what I'm saying? It's not like back in the 80s or something where people had to kind of guess. This is pretty confirmed now. You've pretty much made sure that everybody has known that this shit's fake. So, you're going to go out there, Triple H, one of the big cheeses in the company, and say you're going to be out of character. Don't you kind of look at that? And what I'm saying is that I enjoyed the promo. The context was good. I like that they acknowledged, like, okay, well, Batista gets up on the screen. He's like, well, come on, you know, you're gonna get up on the screen, but you know, you're not gonna be here. You're gonna be on my time. He's like, how original? Okay, well, you know what? Maybe Batista really did have another commitment to like a movie or something. I don't think so. You know, he just got to the WWE. Are they really going to pull that shit already? You know what I'm saying? If so, work something out. Film something a little bit better rather than an Instagram video and have him mail in that. Do something. I mean, have him sit like in his trailer or something instead of this close-up fucking video. That's just lazy shit. And I don't even understand how Bruce Pritchard's working there. And that's just fine. That's peachy with him. I'd be like, no. You know, this is not acceptable for Batista to do. And first of all, like, don't even tell him to do that. That's fucking insulting to have him send in an Instagram video for the fucking show. But if you're going to have Triple H come out there and make fun of the fact that he's cutting that lazy promo, why even have him come out there? Why even have him send in that video and do that lazy Instagram promo? Like, they're having Triple H make fun of him in the promo. Then don't do it. Then write the show differently. Offer Batista more money to come on the show so he could actually be there, or do something a little bit differently. This is, I've said this time and time again. People will say like, oh, that was so awesome that he said that. Yeah, I mean, it's a good jab. But how about instead of him saying that we get like a better piece of story here? Other than Triple H talking to a camera with nobody coming out. So, like, it's good intensity and everything. I like that they tried to make it more real. But instead of making it like, you know, appear like it's more real, why don't we already just make it real? And fuck the characters already. Stop with the nonsense of, oh, I'm gonna step outside character. Just don't do it, okay? Just don't have them play characters anymore. Because it's stupid already. You're gonna come out there, you know, like last week, you know, we have Triple H one week acting like a heel towards Becky Lynch. And then he's out there celebrating. And now he's, you know, defending the honor of Ric Flair. I mean, just pick a, you know, they can't even pick a character for him to play. So they might as well have no character. Just have him be himself. Have Triple H be the egotistical maniac. And plus, no one's even buying the fact that, like, Triple H is going to... Like, first of all, it's Ric Flair's birthday party. And Triple H now, it's all about him. You know what I mean? Mr. Hero and everything. It's like... And plus, for so many years, people bitched about Triple H and how he would not step out of the spotlight. And, oh, you know, he's hogging the spotlight. He won't let young talent over. He kept Rob Van Dam and Booker T down. You know, basically what Culture says in every video. And I'm not denying that. Over those years, they really did keep a lot of talent down. And, you know, what they did to Booker T at WrestleMania 19, I agree with Simon Miller on that. They made Booker T look like a fucking goof doing that. He deserved way better. Booker T's one of my favorites of all time, and to see him be reduced to that. So I agree. But now, it's like everybody now loves Triple H. He's just like completely just, you know, we're dismissing everything that Triple H had did wrong in the past. All his politicking and everything, that's a non-issue anymore. And I feel that that's fucking bullshit. You know what I mean? Just because Triple H is in a different role now, you know, and that's the reason why people are giving him a break. Because he was nice to Kevin Owens. He gave him a hug. He hugged Ricochet. Who gives a fuck? I mean, honestly, like, this guy has done some dirty shit in the business. And people are going to, like, sit back and forget about it. All the politicking he did. And now we're going to all forget about his ego because he hugged a few guys. None of those guys are even over, you goofballs. Like, honestly. So, then Stephanie McMahon, like, her husband's out there, like, losing his mind. And it's just so weird to see just Stephanie so calm, holding the belt backstage. Like, no selling what happened out in the ring with Triple H just mere moments ago. It's it's so weird. Anyway, she announces that Becky Lynch and Charlotte are going to have a match for the women's title. We're gonna, you know, just because we're gonna forget about, you know, Becky and her arrest and pressing charges, just because, let's reward her for, you know, Becky, thanks for breaking the law. Thanks for disrespecting our wishes. Now we're going to reward you with a women's title shot. That just makes a world of sense right there. So, you know, forget about the arrest and all that. You know, it's like, did you ever see Vince McMahon, like, arrest Stone Cold? No, like, Stone Cold had to beat him in a match to earn his spot at WrestleMania. You know, after he got arrested. McMahon would not let him anywhere near that title. So, you know, he would play with him. He made him be a special guest referee. He wouldn't let him anywhere near that title. And even if he did, he screwed him out of it. It's one of the best storylines of all time, Austin McMahon. If you haven't seen it yet, to my younger fans, I greatly suggest you check it out on the network. Check it out here on YouTube. Because that is the best that it will ever get. And that's how you did that storyline. This cheap bootleg version that we're getting with cringy Lynch is just nonsensical. So, you know, they're lifting all that, you know, the suspension, everything. It's all been lifted. Then we get Heavy Machinery winning a gauntlet. They beat the Ascension. They beat Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins in the B team. What they got out of this, I don't know. Because, like, first of all, they were going to have a match later on to see who was going to wrestle at the pay-per-view for the tag titles. This gauntlet, I don't know what it is. It was just for fun, apparently. Anyway, they beat the teams fairly quickly, and that's about it. I don't really have much to say. I mean, I like Otis. I like his look. This team seems promising. I'm going to be a smart here. The team seems promising, guys. You know, they do. They seem like they could be good. But, guys, we all know better at this point. I mean, honestly. Even with Bruce Pritchard there, we all know how this is going to go. It's just going to be another flop. Another team that won't get over. Because they will refuse to book them in a spot where they will have the ability to get over. And once again, it's not going to be their fault. Tori Wilson has been announced into the Hall of Fame. I feel like this is going to be one of those nominations when she comes out at WrestleMania, barely anybody is going to cheer for her because, you know, the Smarks now, you know, they look down on Tori Wilson. They look down on Stacy Keibler. They look down on Deborah. They look down on, you know, all these, you know, eye candy wrestlers that, eye candy divas. They look down on divas. You know, if it's not Sasha Banks and it's not Cringy Lynch, you know, and they're not like, you know, jumping off ladders and, you know, flying off chamber walls, I mean, then they don't care about them. And it's going to be sad because Tori Wilson had a lot of good moments. It's a beautiful woman right there. Definitely deserves. She was in, you know, so much like history, you know, with Vince McMahon and all those segments. You know, the classic storyline, which a lot of people thought was bad, but, you know, I thought it was entertaining as hell, the Al Wilson, Dawn Marie storyline. I mean, you look back on that, and that was some entertaining stuff. So, another recommendation there for you. So, you know, Tori Wilson definitely deserving to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm also looking for when they're going to announce Stacy Keibler. That would have also, I wouldn't have been opposed to having Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson being combined as a team, since a lot of times that they were like featured together. But anyway, that's besides the point. Then they've got the SNL guys in the back, and they're just walking along, and they see EC3. Oh, that's where he's been. He's just backstage. Guys, let's take a sidebar here for a moment. Can you even believe for one moment that after 2 weeks they already don't know what to do with EC3? I would have thought that if Bruce Pritchard was there, he would have made it his priority to get a star like EC3 over by any means necessary. Instead, he's in the back and he's oiling himself up and he's looking at himself in the mirror like Lex Luger. I mean, really, like, I just can't believe that. Like, Finn Balor has a spot on this show. And, you know, they have time to do a gauntlet match that has no meaning, no stakes, no purpose whatsoever. And they can't find time for EC fucking 3? Then they see Titus O'Neil takes a picture with the black dude. Then they run into No Way Jose. The white guy dances. And that's about it. I mean, it just couldn't just get any more worthless than that. Then Elias surprisingly gets a victory over Dean Ambrose. And this was actually a pretty good match. I mean, I like the way these guys were doing it. It felt more like an old school match. It was nice to see a match that didn't have, you know, just a bunch of fucking flips, and it didn't have to move 1,000 miles an hour. You know, that actually made me feel like I had an attention span of some sort. Then, after that, we've got everyone piling into the ring. Well, what did they have after that? No, it was the Shield comes out to reunite with Ambrose first. That's what happened. And then, you know, Ambrose doesn't want to have any of it. He walks away. And this is just kind of weird. Like, he just lost, so he's looking bad. You know, and he lost clean to Elias. So I would have thought if on any night that they were going to have Ambrose win, it probably would have been tonight. But instead, he loses. And then it's like, oh, you know, let's have a Shield reunion. Like, when the guy's momentum had already went, you know, just, that's the right time, I guess. But anyway, I guess it made Elias look strong for what came next, because then Corbin comes out and Drew McIntyre, and they said we were going to challenge you guys to a match, but then they storm into the ring. They start beating up on Reigns and Seth. Then, you know, Ambrose, who was walking in the crowd, he runs back to the ring. He's all conflicted. He helps, like, you know, beat them up, and then, well, he helps, you know, beat up the heels, you know, which is Drew. Who was involved in that? Was it? No. I think Bobby Lashley was in there. I don't think that... Did Elias help out at all? I don't even remember. Whatever. The heels beat him up. Whoever it is. Because that team changes so many times. Last week it was Elias. Whoever it was now. Anyway, Ambrose helps Rollins and Reigns. And then they do the fist bump. And I guess, you know, we're going to have a 6-man tag at Fastlane. Again, you know, another Shield reunion. Shield reunion take number 6, I guess. Something like that. It's probably accurate. And so now the Shield's together. And it's just like, guys, like, Reigns just got back. I would like to see what this guy is going to do for WrestleMania. I would like to see him enter into a one-on-one feud with somebody. Like, this is the thing how I see it. Rollins and Ambrose, no matter how much you love Seth. And I gotta talk about a little sidebar here for a minute. I got another sidebar. Rollins opening up a coffee shop. That's all I'm gonna say. I mean, honestly, like, it just... The guy's gonna open up his own coffee shop. That's the most charisma I've seen out of the guy. Come try the coffee, guys. It's great. You know, try one of my famous cappuccinos. You know, just, oh God. Imagine that. I mean, honestly. Yeah. But I would love to see Roman Reigns get involved in something. Instead, he's hanging out with these guys again. And what I was going to say was that they see there's how boring Ambrose and Rollins are at times, and that's why they have them basking in the glow of all the heat that Reigns was getting even before he announced the leukemia. And it's like they see that, and that's why. So it's like enough already. Let's stop, you know, living vicariously through Roman Reigns just because you two goofballs just can't get over. Because, you know, look. We've already seen that Ambrose has potential, but they walked him back so many times. There was the point of no return, which is why I don't blame them for finally, you know, just granting him his release. But, you know, they're back again with this Shield reunion. Let's move on already. We've got Tamina defeating Sasha Banks, and, you know, Tamina finally won a match. That's great. I mean, it's like... They're talking about how Nia Jax overshadows Tamina, when Tamina is the direct daughter of Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Now, you know, Nia Jax is like in the Rock's and Roman Reigns family, whatever that's called, the something with an A. I always forget the name of that family, that Samoan family. But like, Tamina is direct daughter, but they don't want to say that. Like, they'll reference Snuka sometimes, but they don't want to reference it too much because of, you know, all the allegations that were against them. But, you know, I don't even know really. I don't even know what their logic is. Like, I try to analyze it, but I'm like, I don't even know anymore. It's just like, Tamina looks like a star. You look at the size of the girl, and you know that she could be like a big star. If like, I'm saying, if Sasha Banks could be a star, then if she's a star, then what does that make Tamina? She's obviously 3 times the star of a Sasha Banks. Braun Strowman confronts the white dude from SNL. He asks him if it, you know, is this stuff even real? He pins him up against the wall in the chokehold. The other guy comes running over. Very weird, like, all this talk about, like, wrestling not being real tonight. I mean, like, I don't know where that came from. I wouldn't think that would be, like, Bruce Pritchard's style to try to, like, you know, expose the business. Like, you know, trying to pretend like it hasn't been exposed. I don't know how far Bruce is into the wrestling bubble. But, I mean, I'll tell you, like, I don't get like all this talk like we're not playing characters with Triple H, and then like this actor comes along and says, "Is it real?" I don't know. It's like also, don't you just see like how Strowman is just like not doing anything once again? Like he is going to wind up in the same spot that he was. Not the same exact spot, but a similar spot when WrestleMania comes around, where he's going to get that random throwaway match. And it's like, you look at Strowman, it's like, can you even imagine this guy in a random throwaway match? We said that last year, but somehow he was tag teaming with the referee's son. Look for something very similar to happen this year is all I'm going to say. Then up next, we had Ricochet and Aleister Black, and they defeated the Revival by disqualification when Bobby Roode and Chad Gable, the saddest tag team probably in WWE history, comes along. And I'm just saying here, like, we talked about star potential, and I'm just saying, like, how the fuck, like, EC3 is in the back, Bobby Roode, this charismatic showman, is wasting his time in a tag team with no charisma having Chad Gable, a talented guy, a good wrestler in Chad Gable, a versatile in-ring talent, but the guy's not going places. You just can see, you look at Chad Gable, and he's just not going places. He sounds like Seth Rollins. He, you know, wrestles better than Seth Rollins. Hey, maybe we should give Seth Rollins a spot over to Chad Gable. Think he does it better than him. I'm being serious, actually. I'm not even joking. It's pretty sad, but it's how I feel. I like Chad Gable better than Seth Rollins. And I don't even like Chad Gable all that much. I don't dislike him, but I don't really like him. But I like him better than Seth Rollins. Just based off that. At least the guy sells. You know, at least he doesn't have to do 3 suicide dives in a row to prove I'm a great athlete. It's just saying Bobby Roode being wasted here. And Aleister Black also, like, I don't get it. Aleister Black comes in with a full head of steam. They have him destroy Elias, destroy Andrade, destroy 2 great talents. Then he gets stuck in a team with Ricochet. And, like, the fact that they're trying to, like, sell Aleister Black as a high flyer, they're doing, like, simultaneous flips in the ring, like, does Aleister Black, a guy that looks like Aleister Black, does he really need to be doing those fucking flips? I don't know. I mean, to tell you the truth, I actually like the way Aleister Black's flip looked better than Ricochet's, to tell you the truth. I don't think you should be, like, upstage. Like, this is the funny thing. First, they've got Ricochet comes out, he upstages Finn Balor in a tag match, and Aleister Black tag teams with Ricochet, and he outperforms Ricochet. Like, so I'm saying it's like the guy who's known for the flips, Aleister Black, is doing it better. And then plus he does the flip and then he immediately like sits down in one fluid motion. It was just a mess. I mean, okay. And so then we finally get to the main event segment. And it's Ronda Rousey coming out to interrupt this contract signing of sorts, I guess. And Ronda, like, finally just, like, says, you know, give me my title. Stephanie gives her the title back. Then she cuts a promo on the crowd. She shows more energy than I've ever seen from her. And then she just goes nuts. And just, she starts beating the shit out of Becky Lynch. And I mean, quite frankly, like, I guess after you had Becky beating up on Ronda, this was right. But I mean, it made Becky look pretty fucking bad. She get her ass, like, really handed to her here. Like, it's almost like they told Becky, just, you know, it's your time to sell. You're gonna get the shit beat out of you by Ronda tonight. And Ronda, like, she told the crowd, you know, I put it all on the line, and like, I agreed with her. Ronda has given her all. She's been one of the best performers. The girl stole the show at WrestleMania. Got people who have been performing on the indies for years. They didn't even come close to that performance that Ronda put out at WrestleMania. And that, you know, and what she said was true. That fans treat her like shit for no reason at all. After they demanded to have her in WWE for years, they finally got her there and they shit all over her. And, you know, finally they just had her like shut cringy Lynch's mouth. And I mean, you know, it was pretty satisfying for a fake storyline, I must say. You know, but they made her look really bad. Like, they had been burying Becky Lynch, you know, like, in not so many ways. And, you know, coming off that Twitter war that they had, I mean, you know, this just kind of fucking sealed the deal for me in a way. I mean, I'm looking at, like, damn, cringy Lynch is looking pretty damn bad after this. But that was good. And the funny thing is this. During this whole thing, Michael Cole is constantly screaming, this is the Ronda Rousey that people thought that they were going to see when they first came into the WWE. You know, she's finally acting the way that fans expected her to act. That was Bruce Pritchard. If anything else on this show, that was Bruce Pritchard. Because why would anything else change on this show more, you know, if it wasn't done by somebody completely different? Because look what they just said there. This is the way that she was supposed to act. This is the way that she was expected to act when she first came into the company. And now she's acting that way. That's not just total random. That's not just like, oh, let's do a sudden character change. No, they were going to keep her like that. They were going to keep her as, you know, the Jekyll and Hyde smiling Ronda Rousey. And then turn into the beast when she got in the ring. That shit wasn't working. That shit was dumb. And now, finally, they had her act the part for once. They had done it maybe like one or two other times, but now they really seem to drive the point home that she was a force to be reckoned with, that she was a badass, that she wasn't some smiling, you know, perky little girl. They finally got the hint here. And I think it was Bruce Pritchard, to tell you the truth. I think he was the man that came along and said, guys, head into this WrestleMania with Ronda as champion, and you want to build Becky as a badass. You can't have her coming out there smiling, you know, waving at the fans when they're all booing her. I wish they had Bruce Pritchard there years ago. Then we wouldn't have had all the problems we did with Roman Reigns. We wouldn't have had all the problems we did with John Cena, where everyone's booing these people, and, you know, we're just completely disregarding it. So, that was really refreshing to see, and a good way to close out the show, almost. But what do? They have to have Stephanie McMahon say, you know, these actions, there needs to be action taken, you know, for her behavior. And then it ends after the Stephanie promo. Like, does she really need to get the spotlight there? Did she really need to have those extra 2 minutes to get out that promo? You couldn't have just had it end with Ronda Rousey just looking really badass in the ring, like looking into the hard cam, you know, or looking down at Becky Lynch. You know, you couldn't have, like, it just end like that, end on excitement, you know, end on a high note, something like that. No, what did you have to do? You had to have, like, just, that is so unnecessary. Most of the time, they would do those backstage things as, like YouTube exclusive, like WWE.com exclusives. No, but when they finally get one of the hottest closers, because this, to me, this closer was way better than the Batista closer. Way more action, came across better, they had more heat, better promo from Ronda, better everything, better atmosphere, better crowd response. Just, it was all better. It seemed like it went over better. It was of better quality, without a doubt. And just to have it end with Stephanie McMahon cutting out, that was just so dumb on their part. Like, we could wait for her comments till next week. You know, all of a sudden they want to start getting consistent. How is that a way to end a show on an interview? Okay, it's like, no, people, if anything, they'd want to hear from Ronda. Not from Stephanie. Anyway, so, you know, like, the Triple H promo was good. The Ronda Rousey thing at the end there was great. But aside from that, I mean, like, this is kind of reminds me of how we would do show reviews a few years ago. Couple of good segments. You know, one really good segment. I will hand that to them. That was a little bit above average with Ronda. That was very good. I really liked what they did there. But everything else, pretty nonsensical. Pointless gauntlet match. The tag team match, like, using Aleister Black in that role. The SNL guys just roaming around, attempting to be funny. I'm sorry, but, you know, and the Shield reunion, it was nice to see. It's a feel-good moment. If I didn't have to keep feeling good every 2 fucking months on this show. You know, the Shield, you know, reuniting. Like, just enough already. Just make up your mind. You want them to be together, you don't want. Well, it's not going to matter because Dean's going to be gone in another month anyway. All I could say is thank God. I hate to say this, but thank God that means we won't get another Shield reunion. Thank the Lord for that. That's all I could say. At least with Dean gone, that guarantees us that A, he won't have to be tortured anymore. You know, they're not going to make him play the lame heel role anymore that he was, that had so much promise, but they fucked it up. And it also means that we won't have to see them reunite for the 1000th time. So that's definitely a plus in my book. So guys, there's your Raw review. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, please leave a thumbs up. And even if you did hate it, remember, you know, you can leave a thumbs down for that. But leave a comment down below and subscribe, people. Please subscribe and click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.